Hi, my name's Simon Locke. I'm the founder and CEO of CommunicationsMatch. Today I'm with Rainer Mathis, President of Prime Research. Dr. Mathis founded Prime, a world-leading communications research, analytics and measurement company. Dr. Mathis, you established Prime Research in 1987 in a very different communications landscape. From your perspective, or your client's perspective, what's changed over that time and what may have stayed the same?
1987, you're mentioning it correctly. That was the starting time for Prime Research, and it was, I have to say, it was in the last century. We really have to really focus on that. That has been another century. And what we are experiencing today is a digital revolution, and more or less everything changed. So in the old days we had the classical media, we had television as a very important medium, still an important medium. We had print, then online in addition. But nowadays all the social media channels add to these established, let's say, traditional media channels. And now you have to have the full picture, let's say, of all media, traditional as well as social. And that has been a great challenge. We refer to this as the big data revolution. Why? Nowadays it's 2 to 5 million documents per day which we are analyzing, which we are processing. In the old days that wouldn't have been possible. So you have to have the technology, but also you have to understand that new media environment to measure it constantly. But I would say that one thing remained stable in all these years, and that's the need for measurement. And I would even stress that given the changing media landscape, given the speed of communication, given the global scope of communication, that measurement is getting even more important nowadays, that it is even more important nowadays than it has been in the past.
Companies have used return on investment as a business performance benchmark for years. Is it possible to measure the return on investment for communications?
I would say communication is not has a clear purpose. It wants to achieve or to reach a specific target. You want to communicate your messages, you want to get them through, and the success of your strategy, the success of your communication tactics has to be measured, and there has to be a measurement on the return on invest. There are limited budgets, you do not have an unlimited budget, and therefore it is necessary to know where you should focus your investment in and in which other areas you might not to focus it in. At the very end, it's a question of return on invest. So how to measure return on invest? First of all, I would say the marketing colleagues, when they invest their money in advertising, they have a metric for more or less everything what they do, below the line, above the line, they have the metrics, and PR for a long time didn't have that metrics. Now we also have that metrics, and we even have it on a base where we can compare. Let's say that is more or less a consensus within the communication community. There is one question who divides the community a little bit, and that's the question whether you need a dollar sign, whether you need a currency number to document the return on invest. 50% would say that is not possible and you don't need it. The other 50% would say I want to have exactly that number. Why? When I invest 1 million and I get a communication value out of it from 5 million, that's a multiple of 5, and I want to show it to my CEO. So we at Prime Research, we are really driven by our clients. If the clients want to follow that approach, we are providing that approach. If the client says, no, that's somehow delicate, then we say, no, and let's do it in another way.
Well, my last question is simply, over time, communications channels and audiences have become more and more fragmented. What does this mean for the measurement of communications?
There are a lot of tools available in the market, and they show more or less that 90% of the communication nowadays is dominated by Twitter. Why is that the case? They simply count the number of tweets, and then they compare it with the number of TV stories, with the number of online news stories, and then the traditional media may have a market share of 5 to 10%, not more. Is that a fair picture? Of course not. So what we have to do is we always have to measure the effects of communication. And to have an effect, there is a necessary precondition, and that necessary precondition is this message should have reached somebody. And there are different ways how to calculate that reach. Usually we are distinguishing between probability to see, that's our target number, compared to opportunity to see. You get much bigger numbers if you're only focusing on cross reach, on the opportunities to see. But making a opportunity to a probability, that needs some thinking, and that needs some modeling, and we at Prime Research, we developed such models, and we are on an ongoing journey with these new communication channels, with these new audiences. That's a dynamic way, and there's only one thing in these fragmented and ever-changing times, in these disruptive times, which remain constant, and that is change.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.